I'm in your corner, friend. I'm in your corner.
Hey, hi, my name is Ginelle. I am a flight attendant. I am a wife. I am an influencer for Amazon. I read books on Audible, but I'm just out here trying to survive like any other mom.
How are you balancing all of that?
The question is, am I balancing all of it? Because I don't know. I have been very blessed. My mother retired, so she's been able to come and help out. She lives with me now, so she's able to help me out with the kids. So I work nights, and luckily for me, my kid sleeps at night. So everything I do, I'm able to get him in bed and kind of just try to bang everything out, take care of everything while he's sleeping, which in turn means I don't sleep. But that's fine. I just drink coffee and I nap when I can. It definitely helps that my mom is here and at the doorbell. Yeah, hey, my childcare is home. I can go outside now. Hold on one second. Mom, I'm gonna go outside real quick.
Okay, let's talk about that transition into motherhood a little bit. Because we have these trimesters. You have your first, second, third, and then the not so fun or not so talk about, the one that we don't really talk about, fourth. Let's talk about your fourth trimester.
Well, if I'm being honest, I feel like I was mentally prepared for it because I had this child in the heart of COVID. And I really had nothing else to do but try to research. And I also, as much as, there's options and resources, I felt like mine were limited. I saw a bunch of all these nursing classes and parenting classes, and I couldn't go to any of them. I was out of work, like I was home, and I just watched things. And I had a lot of friends who had babies around the same time as me. So I was able to just be like, yo, like what's about to happen? And I kind of just took it all in stride and was like, all right, let me try to be prepared for the unexpected and not have any expectations, because as we all know, it's never going to go as you expect. And I was just aware that it was going to be hard. And the fact that I knew it was going to be hard made it a little easier.
Is that preventing you from wanting to give birth again?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, my pregnancy, once again, during COVID, I literally got pregnant the first day that everything got shut down. I couldn't get anybody to see me. Like the doctors weren't taking anybody new. Maybe like halfway, maybe like at like 10, 11 weeks, I was spotting a lot. I was paranoid. So like finally it was like, can somebody please take me because I'm bleeding? And that's the only reason I got in and actually got a doctor to take me because of that. My pregnancy was miserable. I had pain like from the beginning to the end. I see all my friends and they look all happy and they're roller skating and looking joyful, and me, no child, I was not doing any of that. I had placenta previa. I was on pelvic rest. I had gestational diabetes. I was on a very strict diet. I had to stick myself multiple times a day. I had to take insulin. And yeah, it just was not. And I'm home. I have cabin fever. We can't go anywhere. I was just a very miserable person. And I would like to say that I hope if I tried it again, things would be different because the circumstances in the world are different. But in terms of how I felt, miserable.
How was it, bro?
Oh, that was a breeze. It was the easiest part. Like I was in so much pain my whole pregnancy that I didn't even realize I was in labor. I got there. They were like, yeah, you're like 5 centimeters. I was like, all right, cool, fine. Initially I didn't want the epidural, but the doctor said, well, you're high risk and you have this and the baby's heart rate this, and we don't want you to be stressed and we want this to happen quickly. So I let them bully me into getting this epidural. That was one of my biggest regrets because I ended up pushing that baby out so fast. Like I got to the hospital at 7:30. He was out by 12. But I guess I wasn't pushing correctly, probably because I couldn't feel anything. And I end up tearing my cervix in 2 places and having postnatal hemorrhaging. I didn't even really know what was happening because, it's an epidural. I was like, oh, that's it. Like, that's easy. And then I could just see like a set of, like, I could see the doctor like, oh, something's going on here. Just give us a minute. And I'm like, oh, okay. Then I hear the blood pressure machine is going off. Then he's calling for nurses and And I just felt the panic settle in around me, and I'm like, am I dying? And then they had taken the baby, so his heart rate was dropping, so they took him. So I was like, well, am I gonna die? And if I am, can I at least see my
Can I
kid
see him?
first? They kind of explained it to me as if it was like a C-section from the outside in. So I mean, I don't know what a normal would be like, but it was a lot of soreness, and I bled for a very long time. I bled for almost like 2 months. All of that, the soreness, the pain, like I'm not really sure if I don't know what's normal. I'm terrified of the same experience. I know not every birth is the same. What?
Do you think there's anything that you might or would do differently the second time around if you do consider?
What I would do differently is I would definitely have like a doula, like some more support. When I had the baby, they had just started like letting your spouses come. So I'm just glad that my husband was even allowed to be in the room with me. Like I would have loved to have my mom but I couldn't. So maybe if I just had a little more support, and maybe if I had somebody there who could actually advocate for the things that I wanted, things could have gone a little differently.
Mhm.
And like I said, I feel like if I didn't have that epidural, like I would have been fine. I made it to 8 centimeters without it. I didn't need that.
After all that you went through, pregnancy, birth, and now learning a new baby and trying to get breastfeeding going, like all of your breastfeeding experience.
When I was in the hospital, I had to stay for almost 3 days because they had to make sure my blood count went back up. They had the lactation lady come in. She's like, "Oh, you're doing great. You got it. It's fine. Cool." I'm like, okay, but I still like, as much as I watched the videos online, because that's all I could do. Like, I'm like, I still don't feel confident. Like, can you come back? So she's like, yeah, I'll come once a day. She never came back. And then when I left the hospital, all the babies lose weight after you have them. But the doctor was like, he's losing too much. You need to supplement with formula. And I was like, I do not want to do that. Like, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, I just want somebody to help me. And then I had been watching all these videos about breastfeeding. I took all these online classes about breastfeeding 101. And one of the ladies said, oh, you should get these nipple shields. Like, they're really good for like nipple soreness and pain and da 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 da. And I was like, you know what? I have one. Let me try it. So like I did end up giving him formula for the first day because I, as a woman, I felt defeated. Like I don't know. I just, that feeling that you get like when you feel like your body is not doing its job. Like I just felt like I couldn't, like, but whatever. I get the nipple shield, pop the thing on, it's a breeze. I'm like, okay, so maybe there's something wrong here. Like maybe he's a tongue tie. I take him to his pediatrician. Oh no, he doesn't have a tongue tie. He's fine. He's fine. So why can't this child latch properly? Like, still can't get nobody to call me back.
Listen.
But I just started checking the forums, and this one lady was like, get a second opinion. Like, actually take him into someone who can check for that. I take the child, and he has 3 ties. So out of pocket, that costed almost $1,800. But immediately, like right after the procedure was done, he was able to nurse, and ever since then, it was a breeze.
How was your schedule like with breastfeeding? Were you pumping, breastfeeding? How were you doing that?
So I work mainly weekends and I work nights. So I would nurse before I left, like right before I left the house. And then I had one of those portable wearable pumps. So I would go to work, I'd work the first flight out. And then when I get to wherever, I'd put my pump in, and then I'd be there like doing service, milking the whole way. And then I would just leave it in my bra. By the time I got home, I would pour it out, put in the freezer. I would nurse him before I went to bed. And then at least that milk that I pumped would be available throughout the day. And then overall, like I was able to start just building my stash by pumping at night when I was home, just the one time. And then he started sleeping through the night pretty early. So I was able to just build my stash. Cow, baby, it was giving cow. I was easily getting 8 ounces per session. And that was just pumping once a day.
Stuff like that, I think a lot of women can feel discouraged because they see so many women have like a surplus or have such an abundant amount of milk, and it makes them feel as if like they're not making enough. So it's like, how do you even find a balance for women to feel like what is normal.
What you produce is what your baby needs. And I feel like a lot of times it's such an old school, specifically Caribbean women. That baby hungry, they're not getting enough. They need more. Give them this, give them rice cereal. Like, why? They don't need all that. Like, a lot of us are not taking the time out to just trust our bodies and trust ourselves to know that your body is going to give that child what that child needs. A baby takes out so much more than a pump can take out. So you can't even make the assumption that it's enough or it's not.
So cloth versus disposables. Let's talk on that because I think all the other interviews I did, we didn't really talk too much about diapers. Talk about your decision to use cloth versus disposables and how that journey
Okay, I'm gonna be real. I know this girl named Tasha, right? And she was writing this book or whatever about cloth diapers. She's like, "Can you proofread this?" I wasn't even pregnant yet, but I proofread it. I was like, "Yo, this is kind of dope. Like, I'm kind of a little bit of a hippie, so that would be something that I would be into." And I just committed, and it just worked out. I mean, I had a couple of times where I'd have some like little issues, and I was able to kind of troubleshoot and figure out my washing routine and tweak things. When he was born, like I got the one size. I wasn't gonna go get the smaller ones. I had a feeling he was gonna be a huge kid. And within maybe the first month he was in disposables, that kid had all kind of rashes. From I put him in cloth, I never had an issue. So for me, I feel like with my job being in a weird place during COVID, it just made sense for me to save money and not be out here spending all this money on diapers and wipes. I used the cloth diapers and the cloth wipes. The only thing it was just very time consuming with the amount of laundry and stuffing. And I was home, so it worked. And I feel like it was a great option for my family. My mom was like, "Whatever you want to do, girl." My husband was like, "I'm not changing no nasty. That's the thing. I'm not washing." I'm like, "Nobody's asking you to wash, sir. Just change the kid and put him in the bag." Like, I was very particular, like about the washing. Like nobody ever helped me wash. I took care of that. That was my thing. And once he realized putting it on, we used the pockets. You put it on like a normal diaper. You throw the poop in the toilet, and you keep it moving. He never hosed nothing down. He would put them aside. I was hosing. I was doing all of that. So when he realized that it really wasn't any different, and I was like, "If we're buying disposables, you are paying for them, not me." Then he was like, "All right, bet you could go ahead and do that." I want to be able to help those, not necessarily even new moms, because some people have kids and had more and are still confused about a lot of things. Just help them understand that it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Like, you don't have to feel lost and confused and frustrated when there's so many women out there who may have the advice and the information that you need to help you have a successful journey, whatever success is to you. But I don't feel like any mom should feel overwhelmed or lost or confused, especially with something that every mom has experienced. There's no reason for you to feel hopeless, and there's no reason for you to feel alone in motherhood.
I'm never gonna let you down.